Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fire Up Wind Down. I am your host, Deborah Trapin, and today I am so excited to introduce you to one of my dearest friends, Miss Katie Lance. And she is so many things to me. She is a friend to me. She's a mentor to me. She's an inspiration to me. She is a kick-ass, badass businesswoman who is doing amazing things in her space. And it's rare that I get to interview somebody that I know so well and have a chat with somebody that I know so well. So this should be an interesting conversation because I know a lot about you, but the questions that we're about to dig into today, I may or may not know the exact answer you're about to give. So that will be fun. So I'm going to read a quick little bio on you. So Katie is the founder of Katie Lance Consulting, a social media and marketing firm. Katie's clients include companies like these teeny little companies, like Remax International, DocuSign, RPM Mortgage, SmartZip, and many others. She is a frequent keynote speaker, yes she is, and a contributor to the HuffPost, and formerly the chief strategist and killer voice over at Inman News. I also want to add my 11 cents that she loves wine. She loves Hello Kitty, and she sings the word fabulous when she says it.
Fabulous.
It's just like one of my favorite things about you. So why don't you share a little bit about who you are with the audience, and then we'll dig into some questions.
Sure. Well, thank you for the great introduction. So excited to be here. Deborah's such a good friend of mine, so this is fun to have this chat with all of you. So I am, as Deborah mentioned, I run my own social media marketing company. I've been in business about 3.5 years. I'm happily married, been married almost 15 years this year. We have 2 beautiful boys, 5 and 8. And we run a company where we help other companies get smarter about how to use social media. And that's really where my passion is helping other business owners just get smarter about how they use social media and how they use Facebook and Twitter and Blab and all these other platforms to get better about furthering their relationships and generating business and just getting really intentional about what they do. So I do a lot of consulting, speaking, as Deborah mentioned, and we also just launched our academy this past week, which has been a kind of like birthing my 3rd child in a lot of ways. But we're just really focused on helping people get smarter about the time that they use social media and the way that they do it. So I'm fired up to be here. And Deborah's an amazing lady. I've got her book literally right by me, right here.
Oh, you're so sweet.
If you guys don't have her book, you got to get it. This is Deborah has helped me many, many times in my life to get unstuck with things. So she is a dear friend. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I have a glass with something in it. Do you have a glass with anything in it?
Of course. Yes. Of course. I was like, where's the wine? I got to get wine, my computer.
Okay. So I always love, especially on this show, since I don't do wine sponsors on this show versus Women on Wine TV, I like to drink like crazy wines. So, I love to go to Trader Joe's and talk to the somms there because they are fun people. If you do not talk to the person who's the wine steward at your Trader Joe's, you are totally missing out.
Oh, I got to do that. Okay.
Yes, seriously. So let's see if this will show up because it's kind of... I know you're not going to be able to understand what it says because it's totally in Italian.
That's pretty.
So, so it's Lambrusco dell'Emilia Bianco. It is obviously a white Italian wine. But okay, so what I love about this, the many things I love about this is one is it has a very, very, very light fizz to it. So it's not bubbly like champagne or Prosecco. It's very, very light.
Okay.
It's fruity, but it's not super sweet.
Yeah.
And are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
$4.99.
What? That is awesome.
This fires up your cellar. Come on now. It's perfect for porch pounding with your friends during the summer.
I love it.
All you need is like really a beautiful long glass straw.
Yeah. I love it.
So delicious. So yes, that's why I'm sipping. It's yummy. It's a party on the tongue.
I love it. All right, you want to see my bottle? I even have my bottle right here.
I do.
All right, it's not as pretty as yours. You probably had this before. It's Ferrari Corona, and it's one of my favorite summer wines. It's Fumé Blanc, a Sauvignon Blanc, super light and crisp, and it has a screw top because for easy access.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And it's really inexpensive. It's like 10 or 15 bucks. I mean, if you want just an inexpensive porch pounding wine, as you said, I love it. It's awesome. So
fun story about Ferrari Carano is that was the first bottle of wine I bought after I turned 21.
Okay.
At a Piatti's in California. It's like, nice. I still remember like looking at a wine list and going, I'm going to buy a bottle because now I'm legally allowed to buy a bottle. And it was a Ferrari.
That's so funny. I was just at Piatti's today, actually. How funny.
Oh, their bread. Oh my gosh. So delicious.
I know. So good. So good.
Okay. So
it's amazing. If you've never been to the winery, it's an amazing experience.
I've not. I tend to go to like the hidden, not on the normal radar, but that would be a fun one to visit. That's for sure.
It's amazing. It's beautiful.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. So one of the first questions I love starting with is, especially for entrepreneurs who were intrapreneurs in corporate America and then started their own thing. What inspired you? What was that push that got you out of your comfort zone of getting the 9-to-5 paycheck, which is really like the 8 to 11 paycheck?
Right.
What was it that pushed you to start living your dream and starting your own thing?
Well, I think for me, I guess there's a couple things. I mean, I think I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit, regardless of what 9-to-5 job I've had. I've always been that person that's treated my marketing budget as if it was my own money. I've always treated things I've had to do as if they were mine. And I would get so irritated at other people when they would clock out at 5, or disconnect. It's like, but this has to get done, and so I think that was a big part of it. And then, for myself, I kind of went through this journey. I had a great position, as you mentioned, in News, amazing company, amazing brand. But sometimes we hear these little things in the back of our head, like, maybe it's time for that next journey in my life. And I remember going through the process of chatting with other companies and thinking of, maybe I'm going to interview with a few other places. And through that process, it really sort of solidified that I don't really want to work for anyone else. I want to work for myself. I want to work with a lot of companies. I want to work with a lot of brands. I want to help a lot of people. And that vision of serving more has been something that has just come through, time and time again. And even more so in 2016, that's been a huge focus of my business, is being able to serve more people. So I think that's been a big part of my journey. And now that I'm here, I don't know, I can't imagine going back to that 9-to-5 or 8 to 11 or whatever that is. It's just so much joy in that.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And I love how it's opened up the freedom factor for you. I mean, when I met you, you were pregnant.
That's right. Yes, I was.
You were totally pregnant. And
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to rack in my brain. I'm like, what city did I first meet you in? Like, it's kind of, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool that I can't really remember, because it feels like, if internet years are like dog years, we've known each other for 50 years, which is longer than we've been alive. So
right.
I think it's a good thing we can't remember. But just seeing, like, I remember, we used to be roomies when we'd travel to these conferences together. And I remember, you'd talk to your kids at night and do FaceTime or whatever. And you'd just get off and you would just have this guilt. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember many times before you get up and go do your day, you'd be like, oh, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? Yeah. I love this job. However,
yes.
And now it's like, if anybody were to look at your public stream, they would see this beautiful, integrated lifestyle that is work and family and fun and adventure. And, I think it's so great for people to hear the story that it actually can work. Because usually when you tell people you're starting your own company, they're like, well, most of them die within 3 years. You're like,
good luck with that. Right.
Yeah, right. Totally. Good luck with that, sister. I love that.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's a big part of, for me, just having that quality of life and that, I think balance. I don't know if you can ever have balance, but just that quality of life is huge, and my shortest commute is from my bedroom to my home office right here every morning. And, being able to be there for my kids and being there for my clients and still being able to speak and travel and kind of, I don't know, I feel like I have it all. Maybe I shouldn't jinx myself, but.
Well, I think that the reality is that you have everything you want.
Exactly.
And so you have all that you want right now. I mean, I think that's, we've had many a conversation about the having it all.
Yes.
I don't know if you had a chance to watch this State of Women, the conversation between Oprah and Michelle Obama.
I haven't. I saw you shared and a few other people shared it. I need to catch up on that.
You are going to love that conversation. I'm like, we need to be on stage with these two women having this conversation. It was so good. It was so good. And Michelle Obama's, she talked a lot about the all and balance and all of that good stuff because, some things do give in different seasons, certain things give.
Yeah.
And I think that it's celebrating all that you have and being happy and being content with your current all is so important. It doesn't mean you don't wish for other things or look forward to a season where you have more of something else. But I mean, your boys grow like weeds. I swear, I don't know what you feed them, but every time I see photos of them, I'm like, oh my gosh, they grow like 30 inches?
I know, it is crazy.
I think it's boys in general, like at this age are like, starting to grow and then they hit that plateau and then all of a sudden 8th grade hits and they're taller than their moms. But
right, I know.
But it's so fun to actually be able to see it, even from, 1,000 miles away. I'm watching these little beams just shoot right up. It's so awesome.
Totally.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it. So tell me, one of the fun things exercises that I love to take clients through and audiences through is I will feel successful when. And really getting them to think about what success means to them. Yeah. And so what does it look like and feel like to you right now? Like, what does success mean to Katie Lance?
I think that's a really good question. I think a couple things. I mean, money's certainly not everything, but money allows you a lot of freedom in life to do the things you want to do. So, people are like, oh, money's not important. Yeah, money's kind of important to me. Like, I like money. I like making a lot of money. Like, that is awesome, right? And I'm not afraid to say that because not that that's success by any means, but it gives you the freedom to do the things you want to do. It gives me the freedom to, if I want to start my day at 8 a.m. or if I want to start it at 10 a.m. or if I want to work at 11 o'clock at night or if I want to end at 4:30 or if we want to go to Hawaii for the week or whatever we want to do. Like, that's a big part of success is I think just having that freedom. And, we talk a lot about working hard and the value of hustling and things like that. And I'm a big believer in working hard. I always say, I'll outwork anybody any day of the week. But at the same time, I don't want to just be that person who's a workaholic and I'm never there for my kids, So success means being able to work hard, having a good amount of money that's going to allow us the freedom in life to do what we want to do, to have the retirement, down the line that we want to have that lifestyle my husband and I want to have. But also just that, just to have that time. Time is the most important thing. Time is all we have. We all have 24 hours in the day. And, there's a phrase that's been sort of resonating with me these last few weeks of, what is it? The days are long, but the years are short.
Yes.
And I look at my kids, like you said, it's like, oh my gosh, they're 5 and 8. And I met you when I was pregnant. And it's like, it goes by like that. And I don't want to miss it, and I've just been so blessed that I've been able to run a business where I don't miss the first day of school and I don't miss any of that stuff, but I still travel a couple times a month and I still have a great husband who supports me and I support him. And it's all those little things. That's really what success means to me,
Yeah, I love that. Freedom.
Yeah. Freedom.
I mean,
exactly.
I think that's, and you could, so if you were my client sitting in my chair,
yes,
we would start going down what does freedom mean? Right. And I think that when you actually allow yourself to rabbit hole for good, not internet rabbit hole, but rabbit hole on your own, like on your own self, right? Yeah. Total introspection and say, what does that mean to me? Like, I don't want to have to budget in vacation. Yeah. I want to be able to go and fly by the seat of my pants.
Exactly.
Like if that sounds good and that is what success means to you, awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And so I love that. I love that that word comes out. An interesting thing is usually it takes a couple of mistakes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
I love failure.
Yeah.
I love failure. I write about failure a lot. I love failure because I think that failure has gotten such a bad rap. And I think it sucks that something that is so prevalent in our lives, like failure,
Yeah. Yes.
is considered bad. Like
Yeah.
I want the world to embrace it. I want them to run forward to it and through it.
Yeah.
Right. So I always love hearing like what's a lesson that you learned through something you're like, oh man, sister, I should not have done that to myself, but I did.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably something that you teach others, that you maybe preach from stage. What is that one little nugget that you're like, learn from that?
Well, I think a big nugget, and I've always said this, but I don't know if I completely believed it, and that was, don't be all things to all people. So I always said, in fact, I'm looking at my board right now, like a board next to me. And this is like a quote actually my grandfather had in his office. And when he passed away, it was one of the things I took. I'm like, I'm putting that up on my office. And I always said it. I said it from day one. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to have bills to pay and to say, oh, I don't want to say no to anything, right? Because that could be an opportunity. And I always balance this, say yes and figure it out later. Don't overanalyze it versus don't be all things to all people. So I think that was a big lesson for me in that it's okay to stay true to that. And if you are true to really who you are and what you do and what you love and the value you bring and what you don't do, it's okay. And it's okay to say, I don't think I'm the right person for this, but let me refer you to somebody else. And I always preach that. I just didn't always completely follow my own advice. And looking back, I look at some of the clients I work with, and they've all been amazing people. But looking back, I can see, you know what? I don't know if I was the right fit for X, Y, and Z. I don't know if that was the right connection. And it's nothing against them or me. It's just, you can't be all things to all people. I specialize in social media. That's what I love. I'm not a press person. I'm not a PR person. I'm not a designer. I'm not an email marketer. I'm not any of this. All of that I can do, but that's not my gift. Right. So leaning into really who you are. And I don't know, I think wisdom with either age or maturity, that's just a big lesson. I don't have any regrets, but just looking back, I look at where I'm at today and I'm just so much more at peace with who I am and who I'm not. And that's okay.
Right. Well, and I think that you said there's so many great things in what you said. I'm like, but I think overall, it is defining who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that, in this world now where who we are in our personal life and who we are in our business life, in particular for solopreneurs or entrepreneurs who utilize their personal brand to build their business, and executives who do the same, it's blurry. Yes. It can get very blurry. And, one of the things that I've even started doing personally and with friends and mentees and clients is saying, have a niche statement for business and a focus statement for your life.
Oh, I love that.
So, because that, your north, we all need a north. And it's so easy for our compass to be pulled to things that we know how to do.
Yes.
But don't necessarily have a passion or desire to do, but because part of what success means to you is building your personal wealth, saying no to that can feel against your success formula.
Yep.
And so you have to have things in place, right? For yourself to go, yeah, I know that's going to tickle my success button. However,
right.
I know what it's going to do is it's going to add frustration. I'm going to have to take more time to learn how to do this because I only know how to do these 5, not those 6.
Yeah.
And I think especially the first few years of a business, that's normal.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that. you and I have also talked about sharing lots of behind the scenes over the years with real estate agents, right? Like, don't just show this pretty highlight reel of what it's like to be a real estate agent. Like, the media does enough of that, like the 11 o'clock lattes and, 2 o'clock workouts, when really that's not how real estate is.
No.
But even being a business owner, a small business owner, it's, we tend to show and share the successes. We don't tend to celebrate those lessons learned enough. Yeah. I don't think we need to be doing it every day, but I do think, when we share things like this, saying, it was hard for me to say no. And once I learned how to, my life opened and abundance started coming tenfold, because I wasn't focused on what I didn't know. I was focused on what I did know.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's so much wisdom in there. So if you could go back, say 10 or 11 years,
yes,
what would you tell that girl? What would you say to her, that would help her or just breathe some life into her at that stage?
Wow. It's funny, I think of 10 or 11 years ago, not that long ago, but like it's a decade ago. And that's kind of when I got my start in the real estate industry and helping real estate professionals with their marketing and social media. I think on one hand, I don't have any regrets of, choices I've made in the past and things like that. But I think just that confidence of just being true to who you are and not trying to be anyone else. I think maybe it's a female thing. I think we compare ourselves to a lot of people, how we look or, whatever it is. And I think I probably would just say, you know what, you just lean into who you are, and be the best version of you. Because that's where I feel like, and I turned 40 this past year. I'm going to be 41 in a few months. And I just feel like, I don't know, just this piece with, I am who I am. Like, this is how I look. Yes, I'm live streaming and it feels weird to look at myself on camera, but like, I'm over it, right? Like it's all good. And I think I probably would say that to that girl 10 years ago, like, just get over it sooner if you can, and just embrace who you are, because there's nobody else like you in the world, and there's no one else going to be like you after you. So, and you only have one life to lead. So you better make the best of it. Right.
Well, and what I think is, I think that there is a movement. There is a swelling in the tides that is really embracing that. And I don't know if it's that Gen Xers who are running the internet companies and who are creating a lot of this. I know everybody thinks it's the millennials, but it really isn't.
No.
that the Xers have finally found their own. And so they're actually using the platforms. One of my favorite Instagram to follow is F Your Beauty Standards. F Your Beauty Standards. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Oh my Lord. Like, it is so much fun. And it's not about skinny versus curves.
Yeah.
It's everything. And it is women who are just like, I was so nervous to post it, but I am embracing myself. And it is so, you know what? The reality is we can turn on the TV any day and find perfection.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're paid for. They're paid to look a certain way, and then lit a certain way, and makeup a certain way, and hair a certain way, and all of that crazy. But the reality is we don't really connect with them.
Right.
We connect with the character maybe.
Yeah.
But really, the reality is when we're looking at perfection, we're judging ourselves.
Totally.
As opposed to when we show the real side of us. And buddy, we're speaking to you, still shy of video. Come on, dude. Like, the reality is kind of allows people in. And when we become vulnerable and we show ourselves, hanging out in our home studios and offices, and as we are, hair in a braid, it's raining outside,
yes,
it shows this real side that people can actually connect with. And I think it's actually more empowering to the audience to see somebody who doesn't look like the media tells us we're supposed to look. That you go,
totally.
Hey, that's my friend, that's my sister, that's that's my brother. And I think there's power in that. And I think that the more people who can say, I love me,
Yeah.
the way I am. That doesn't mean I want to stay this way forever, but I love me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually claim I love my curves. I love my hair. I love my teeth. I love my feet. You know, whatever your cray is. I mean, I have a girlfriend who's crazy about her eyebrows. Like, she's always brushing her eyebrows. She's always freaked out about her. Like, everybody has their thing.
Right, exactly.
And so it's like, we all want to be part of everyone else's thing, because it makes us feel like we're part of something. So I think it's such spot on advice. I love that. And it helps people, you know, give them a little trigger to jumping over fear and doubt. And I think that, you know, you're really good at talking about this. You're really good at talking about, like, needs to find their thing. So what inspires you personally to keep moving forward when you're like, you wake up and you're like, oh man, I'm not wanting to turn on that camera today. Okay, I gotta do it. Like, what do you do to get yourself pumped?
Oh, I get myself pumped. Well, I was going to say wine, but that doesn't sound good at 10 in the morning or 9 in the morning. A good strong cup of coffee. I'm cracking open some wine now. You know, I think that's a good question. For a while, I was always the person who was working at home in my PJs, and like, you know, when you work at home, it's like, oh, nobody has to see me. And then all of a sudden, like, Periscope came out and Facebook Live and Snapchat, and I was like, I gotta like pull myself together here. Like, I really like these platforms, and like, I don't have to look perfect, but you know, I probably should be like out of my pajamas, you know, if I want to present myself professionally. So that was a little part of it. And then just, you know, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but just like, again, like digging into what you really want to do. And I think so often we just like suffer from analysis paralysis. It's like, just do it, you know, just jump in and just start. Just do it, hashtag, right? And just like wherever you want to be. I mean, I think about my academy that we just launched this week. I've like been thinking about it in the back of my mind probably now, honestly, for a long time. I mean, years now. And, you know, this has happened and this has happened or whatever. And it's like, we only have one life to lead. Like, just like, let's do it. And I don't know. I think we just overanalyze. I think a lot of people, especially women, no offense to all the women, but I just think we overanalyze things. Like, when I started my business, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a website for the first year. I had an about.me page and a Facebook page and a Twitter account. That was it. And if I would have waited until everything was perfect, same thing with my, you know, Get Social Smart is an academy now. But when Get Social Smart launched, it was a 6-week coaching program that we were like piecemealing together with Dropbox and MailChimp and a few other random like Band-Aid solutions. And it worked. And it worked because it was really good content and people really loved it. And then we figured it all out later. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's
no, that is so good. You know what? I just do it totally covers it.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, you're actually preaching into me a little bit now too. So thank you for that.
Okay, good.
You know, the beauty of these types of conversations is that I love how Kelly calls it the open, the kimono. Oh, which by the way, we have to cheers her because she's in the car on her way to Tahoe to see Dylan. So cheers, Kelly.
Cheers, Kelly. Woohoo.
But that you let people know, well, look, it wasn't perfect when it was happening, but the experience wasn't any worse for the wearer on the person. It's just the back end. And I'm really bad. I battle with that.
Yeah.
I
was really successful, by the way. I mean, when I mean successful, I mean, people were spending $1,000 to $2,000 for this program. And if I would have waited, I would have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. All because it wasn't perfect for me. Like, the experience for them was fine. Even I still have people who are like, I think it doesn't matter. Like, it's great you have this great website now, Katie, but like, what you provide now is just as great as what you provided 3 years ago. Right. You know,
right.
So
that's so good. That is so good. So let's
get fired up here.
I know. I love it. Hey, that's the whole purpose. So let's dig in a little bit into the academy.
Okay.
And, you know, I know that we asked you before the show, like, what's your superpower? And you said speaking and educating, which I totally agree. I think that's so fun. And it's right in aligned with the academy. So give us a little, like, give us some behind the scenes. Like, what did that I know you've been thinking about it for a few years, but kind of give us, what did that feel like? What did it look like along the way? So that if there's somebody else who's kind of inspired to put something together in their vertical, that they can go, okay, this is possible.
Yeah. Well, it was a couple things. I remember a few years ago, it was probably 5 years ago, honestly. I remember hearing Laura Roeder. Some of you might follow Laura Roeder.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I saw her at Connect with you.
Yes, totally, right? So Laura Roeder is she was the co-founder of B School with Marie Forleo, and she is the creator of Meet Edgar, which is an awesome social media platform, kind of like Hootsuite, but different in that way. Anyways, she's amazing. I remember watching webinars of hers 5 years ago. She was one of the first people that I kind of got Twitter because I watched her. I remember going, oh my gosh, I totally get it now. And I remember watching some of her content and thinking, I love that she is delivering this content, this educational content in a format that makes sense for me. It was video content, it was webinar content. And at the time I, had another job. I mean, I was not an entrepreneur at all. Maybe I was an entrepreneur in my mind, but not, I wasn't running my own business. And I remember thinking that would be so awesome. That would be so cool to be able to help people like how she's doing it. And I should probably tweet her or something to tell her.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
No, I don't think I should. I probably need to. And, that sort of just stayed in the back of my mind. And then I started my own business, and I sort of did a bunch of different things, from consulting to speaking and blogging and all this stuff. And it was about a year or so ago, I was at a conference that I was speaking at, and I heard Darren Hardy speak, who's the publisher of Success Magazine and just a phenomenal speaker. And he said something. He said, as a business owner, what do you do that when you do it, it makes it rain? And I remember staying in the back of the room, and I was like, oh, that was a good one. Because at the time I was doing it all myself, and I thought, what makes it rain? What I really love is when I can do stuff like this, when I'm on camera, when I'm speaking, when I'm writing, when I'm teaching. That's what brings in the business. That's what makes my phone ring. That's what helps me get more consulting clients. And also that's what I really love to do. And I had kind of a conversation with the people on my team, and ended up bringing on some more people. And we just sort of figured out what can we do? So when I do it, and I actually just had this conversation with my dad the other day. He took me out to lunch. He's like, why are you on Facebook all the time? And all this stuff. I said, because when I'm on Facebook, I make sales. When I'm on Periscope, that's what makes it rain in my business. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I did a Facebook Live the other day, talked for 45 minutes and gave a bunch of value, and then people want to find out what I do. And I give the link to my website, and, 10 more people sign up for my academy. He's like, what? I said, yeah, because I'm not quote unquote selling, but it's just, that's
oh, hell yeah, you're like, Daddy, watch the cash fly right now. $4,000 right there.
Right? So he's like, you can see him like, oh, okay, I get it now, and Paul gets it now. My husband, for a while, he's like, oh, you're on Periscope again. I was like, look, honey, I'm not just hanging out, drinking wine, although that's fun. There's a reason to all this. And it's just, again, tuning into what you do, not only what you do that makes it rain, but what's the value that you bring. It's not like I'm on here talking about, I don't know, quantum physics or whatever. I'm talking about things that I'm really passionate about. So I think for anyone watching, the advice would be what do you know that other people either don't know, or what's your unique spin on things? I mean, I'm not the only person talking about social media.
Really?
Clearly, right?
What?
I know. But for me, it's what's my perspective on it, right? Same thing with you. I mean, there's obviously lots of motivational speakers, but people connect with you because of you and your personality. And that's what people can bring. You put in your own spin, your own opinion, and people resonate with that. So I guess that's just a big thing I would speak into anybody. If anybody watching has the ability to create content, whether it's blog content, video content, Facebook Live, whatever your content is of choice, and people will listen, not just because you're going to give a couple tips, but because you're going to put your own opinion into it, right? You're going to lean in and say, not only am I going to give you these 3 tips for whatever, but you're going to say, and this is why, this is my opinion. And when you just own that, there's so much power in that. I get fired up.
I love it. I love it. I love seeing you get fired up. And every time you say fired up, it makes me smile.
I'm totally fired up.
It's awesome. So I think what I'm hearing is, just to quickly recap. So you had this idea. It was sparked by Laura, thinking, I'd really like to do that. But you were doing your 9-to-5 gig at that point. You were hustling for the man, literally at that point.
Literally. Yes.
And then you struck out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't strike out on your own to start your own business, to create the academy. And I think that that's a key element. I think that it doesn't, like, it was a road to get there.
Yeah.
So shame off anybody who's listening to this, who's thinking, well, I've been doing my own business for a few years and I'm still not there yet. Well, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're working towards it. So you decided you have this team in place. I think one thing that I know, that I want the world to know that's listening, is that you actually hire for specific skill. I mean, you hire attitude for sure, because we all know that Melissa and Megan are amazing.
Yes, they are.
But, Anne Marie is amazing as well, but you hired her for a specific skill.
Yes.
And so give me an idea of how you work through that, kind of the behind the scenes. So how did you and your team say, okay, yeah, we can't handle this part, we need to find someone?
Yeah, I mean, skill is definitely a big piece of it. And attitude, obviously, work ethic, and you have to like the person, obviously. And for me, this is my home office. I'm sitting here in my home office, and my whole team is remote. And so I think there's a few things. I think for me, my first hire was my assistant, Melissa, who is awesome. She's been with me like almost 3 years, more than 3, right around the 3-year mark, which is awesome. And it started with that, because I got to the point where it's like, I need to be better about what I'm spending my time on. I realized I was spending time on things that weren't necessarily income producing things. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs start. That's where I started. It's like, there's only 24 hours in the day. Do I really need to be spending 2 hours a day, like dealing with my schedule, or like booking my travel, or organizing my Dropbox files? Or not that all that stuff isn't important. It's just that, do I need to be doing that? Right. So it kind of started with that. And, and then it sort of branched out from there based on, her abilities and her strong suits. And I think when you hire people, I think a lot of people can do a lot of things. Like Melissa's a great example. She could do marketing. She could do this. She could do that. But really, like, what her skill set is in, like, operations and helping me get organized and, project management, right? Like, and so after a while, I realized, you know what? We need a marketing person. She can do it, but that's not necessarily her passion, her love of where she wants to be. So that's when we brought Megan in. And then we got to the point of developing our academy. And Megan's great. She's got an amazing eye for marketing, and she writes great copy, and she can do design. But doing website stuff, it's, she can do it, but that's not necessarily her passion, her love, her complete skill set. So then it's like, okay, now we need to find someone else to fill that skill set. So, I think the beauty of the day and age we live in is you can hire someone who is either a freelance contractor or someone who you're bringing on a project basis. Or if someone's a really good fit, they become a longer term thing, kind of on a retainer. I mean, Melissa and Megan are both on retainers with me. We have a long-term relationship, which are fantastic. And it just depends on your budget. It depends on a lot of things. And when I first brought on my assistant, Melissa, I think she was working like 5 or 10 hours a week. It was very small because I had a very small budget. I didn't have a whole lot of money. Mm-hmm. And very quickly, because of the workload she took off me, my business increased exponentially. So then her hours increased and her pay increased and things like that. So, I think the other thing too is just not being afraid to interview a few people and just really trust your gut. I mean, I interviewed a lot of people, a lot of great, great people who are super qualified, but I've just really learned to just trust your gut as far as that connection, because as much as I want to hire for skill, if that person doesn't connect with who you are and what you're trying to accomplish and your personality, it may not be the right fit. So that's what I've learned.
So good. That's so good. I know this is helping somebody get over the hump, because I think that we hear, we read a lot about this concept of don't do the things that somebody else could do. Like, we all hear that. I think Buddy actually put something, do what you do best, outsource the rest.
Yeah.
It's a really awesome rhyme, and it's a really great philosophy, but I think a lot of people don't actually act on that.
Yeah.
And I love the advice of just start small. Just start, 5 or 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
And see it. It's, once we talked about this earlier in a blog today, which was so fun to see you earlier, by the way.
I know. Ditto.
Totally random. It's like success, right? It's once you taste it, once you see, oh my gosh, this works.
Yeah.
And I can do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not, my kids are still eating, and I still have, gas in the car.
Yeah.
By doing this, that sacrifice that you might have made on one or two things in order to pay an assistant for 5 to 10 hours a week has now, now you're making hand over fist of what you were making before, because now you're fully resourced.
Right.
And you probably could use other people.
Definitely. We're at this point right now. It's really interesting because we put a lot of resources out, right, to build this academy, and it was another leap of faith, right? I think every business owner, you kind of go through these stages, and as much as this has been a dream and something I've been, wanting to do, and I feel in my gut that this is great, and there's nothing like it out there, for the market that I serve. That the day, 2 days ago, we had our launch party. I had butterflies. Like, I haven't had butterflies like that in a while. Like, my hands were kind of clammy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really nervous. And, it's because we had put all these resources out in the hope, in the dream that putting all of this time, energy, and money out is going to double my business, right, in the next 12 months. But it's scary. It's, I can't lie and say, oh yeah, it was a piece of cake, just fake it till you make it. No, I was kind of freaked out.
Right. Right. Well, and that's real. Right.
Yeah.
Anybody who says that there's not an ounce of fear or freaky, freaking out of some sort, that's a big fat fib, because it's, the reality is, even if you have a lot of money, losing money never feels good.
No, exactly.
Yeah. And a dream unrealized or that's kind of flew by doesn't feel good. And so you want to feel good. Yeah, exactly. Of course, right?
Exactly.
Too funny.
Yep.
That's really, really good word. So let's talk about something kind of fun and personal.
Okay.
But I'm like, oh my gosh.
Should I pour some more wine?
Yeah, maybe, because if you don't admit it, I'm totally reading this. So tell us what's something that people might be surprised to find out about you, because you're so social and you're so like public. But like, what are some things maybe that people don't know about you?
My goodness. What do people don't know about me? I guess probably part of it, and I don't really talk about this a whole lot, I guess, is just sort of the journey my husband and I have taken. When we first got married 15 years ago, we had nothing. We were sleeping on an air mattress for 6 months. We were living on love. And we had one car that we were sharing, and he was working night shifts, and I remember getting a job at a scrapbook store and then getting fired. I still don't know to this day why I got fired. I think I was making like $7 an hour, and all this crazy stuff that happened early on. We were living in Indiana at the time, and for a variety of reasons. And so I guess that's probably one thing. I don't share a whole lot about that, just for whatever reason. I don't no particular reason other than, I don't know why. But
that's so funny. I love that story. And I love the story of how you actually met him.
Yes. Oh yes. We met in a Yahoo chat room in 2001.
Which is so rad. Hello. That's pretty monumental. That was you seriously had social media in you way back then. Before it was even called social media.
I think so. Yes. We met in a Yahoo Christian chat room in 2001. We met April 17th, 2001, and fell in love online, and then met in person, and it all went well, and we got we got engaged and married within 6 months. And my entire family thought we had completely lost it. And, knock on wood, 15 years later, it's like it's like when you know. And we just knew, and it was meant to be. So not that it's all been perfect. Life is not perfect. Things happen. But no, it's been an amazing journey. And I think it just gives Paul and I, my husband Paul, we were, my husband, but we were, we chat about it sometimes. It's like, I think sometimes you have to go through those things to have, to be grateful, for the good times, and to be, just have that sense of gratitude and not take it for granted. I think a lot of times people see someone who has gotten to a certain level of success. Not that I feel like I'm at that level, but I think that some people, you just see that and you think, oh gosh, they've got it so good. And, she can end her day at 3 or 4 and she's making all this money. It's like, yeah, I've worked really hard to get to this. Like, this has been like a decade of work, right? Like, there's no easy path to get to that. And it's just, I'm just beginning. Like, I feel like I have so much more I want to accomplish. So.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say like you're just hitting your stride.
Thank you.
I mean, I think that you've been incredibly successful to this point, but I think that you're finally, I think part of it is that you're owning who you are now. I think more than ever, certainly more than when we first met.
Yes.
And you are so confident and you are so focused and driven. And I know you like the hustle word, so I'll say you are a good hustler.
But in a good way, not in a bad way.
I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't hustle money negatively, but you work your tush off.
Yeah.
One of the things that you did share with me is how is something you do on your phone to unwind. And I'm
gosh. What did I tell you?
It has to do with zoning out to something called Plants versus Zombies.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
What is that?
You don't know what Plants versus Zombies?
I don't. I am so, ask my husband. I think he's actually watching. Like, I am so not a gamer. Like, I just don't do it. And so I'm like, I love zombies. I love anything that has to do with zombies, but usually like watching them. So,
yeah.
So what, like you're standing in line at the grocery store and you just play a little Plants versus Zombies? Like, what is this?
It's usually in the evening as I'm watching like The Bachelorette or something. Or watching whatever else I'm watching. And I'm just kind of zoning out. Like, that's sort of been the way my husband and I have always unwind. Like, he loves to play games, and I don't know, Plants vs. Zombies is a fun game. And it's like mindless. And I think sometimes we think, oh, that's so frivolous. Well, we can't be doing something productive every moment of our lives. Like, there's nothing wrong with just chilling out and like relaxing and doing something mindless, whether it's watching The Bachelorette or playing Plants vs. Zombies. Now, if it takes over your whole day, okay, that's a whole nother story. But,
I would like to point out that I'm pretty sure I heard my husband yelling amen from the other room, and he just put it into the chat.
Woohoo, Joe! I love it.
He definitely is that person for me. He reminds me to do that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily play games. I love to kind of filter and play around with photos.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. Like, when I'm like, my brain just cannot focus anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I know I have almost 20,000 photos on my phone right now.
Oh my gosh. I thought I had a lot. I had 4,000. I thought that was a lot.
No, I almost have I think I just deleted about 1,000. 20,000.
Wow.
So there's always something to be edited and filtered and played around with.
Yeah.
So I do get it, but I was literally beside myself reading Plants vs. Zombies. I think that's so awesome.
I have other games on my phone, but yes, that's a fun one too. Yes.
Okay, so let's rapid fire a couple of these. What are your favorite apps? Like, what are your go-to apps that you use every day?
Oh, I mean, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, totally Snapchat. I'm totally into it. Periscope, Instagram, kind of all the basics ones. I mean, I sort of went through this phase of having every shiny new app out there, and now I just have like the basics of what I really need, of like what really works. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's kind of the trend.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of, deleting or at least putting all the random ones in a folder, like a graveyard folder that eventually they'll be deleted from.
Yeah.
So I think that's true. So
I do love the photo editing stuff. So I have like Word Swag. I love Word Swag. I still love Camera Plus. I mean, gosh, you and I have been using Camera Plus for years.
I still use it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
I've tried the others and I'm like, I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
So when you are looking at Periscope versus Blab versus Snapchat, I'm thinking about this list and I'm thinking, how do you determine when you use Snapchat versus when you use Periscope?
Yes. So I actually just wrote an article about this on my blog because someone else asked me about this recently. And the title is like, snap it, tweet it, scope it. Like, which one should you do?
Oh my.
Oh my. I actually think I should get a t-shirt that says snap it, tweet it, scope it. So I guess taking a step back, I try to be really clear about what I use each platform for, right? Like, yeah, and that's, I think, a big place for a lot of people is, should I Snapchat this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And so I guess I take a step back and I'm pretty clear about what I use each platform for. And then each one kind of overlaps a little bit too. For Periscope and like Facebook Live, I think for that, I sort of treat that as blog content in a lot of ways. So if I write something on my blog, most likely 5 to 7 days later or a few days later, I'm going to do a Facebook Live or a Periscope about that same content. And then I'm going to point people to that, to that link. It's a great way to repurpose content. We've talked about this before, but I'm a big believer in having like your big pillar content, right? And for me, my big pillar content is the fact we blog once a week. It's a big piece of content we put a lot of time and energy into. And then how can we slice and dice that? So I'll use Snapchat to kind of tease it out. I'll use Snapchat to showcase the link, to kind of have some fun with it. I'll, Instagram a fun photo about it. I'll do a couple Periscopes about that topic. Like, thinking about each of the platforms and how they all lead back to your kind of pillar piece of content. So that's, from a business point of view, that's how I use it. And then especially for Snapchat, Snapchat's really new for me. I was the one who was like, I'm never getting on Snapchat. It's just a bunch of kids doing a bunch of inappropriate things. And I kind of changed my tune. After I tried it out, I was like, this is kind of fun. Like, I kind of like that it doesn't have to be perfect. I kind of like that it's quick and in the moment. I kind of like that I'm only connected to 100 people versus like 3,000 people. Like, we'll try it out. It's kind of fun, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. I love it. And I've heard you give this advice a couple of times in the last couple of days, and I think that it's so important. So I'm so glad that you shared that with the Fire Up community, because I think, we've always talked about, bringing everything back to your hub, but I think that people get stuck in that every time they get online, they have to do something new.
No. Yeah.
And it's really not true. I mean, one of the reasons actually Kelly and I decided to go from weekly Women on Wine TVs to monthly was that we were busting our tushies to do these big shows every week. Yeah. And the reality is we have 150 shows. Like, we've got tons of content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just take some time and build our other businesses and still have fun with this and still showcase it, but it doesn't have to be brand new every time.
No. I think we are our own worst enemy, and we think, oh, people have already seen this. No, I don't even remember what you shared yesterday, let alone like what did I do yesterday, right?
Right.
So like repurposing and taking something and slicing and dicing it 12 different ways over the course of, a few weeks or a few months. I think that's a huge thing we've done for my own business. Feel like we've done a way better at is just repurposing something I wrote 6 months ago. Why not talk about it today? It's still relevant. If it's still relevant, why not? No one's going to remember you published it 6 months ago.
Yeah, come on. Hope everybody heard that. No one's going to remember.
No
they
one.
Don't even remember what they wore last week, let alone what they read 6 months ago, for crying out loud. Exactly. That is so awesome. So is there anything else before we close that you want to just share with the Fire Up community before we give them like their special little deal for the Academy and things like that? Like, what's on your heart? Like, after we've had this conversation, what's on your heart?
I think, I've said this a couple times, but I can't emphasize enough the value of just leaning into who you are and leaning into your niche and your audience. I think this is one thing that I've sort of struggled with, as a business owner, and especially recently with the Academy, I said, you know what? My niche really is real estate. That's where people know and trust me. And of course, what I do applies to other industries, but like, I'm going to lean into that, and not just real estate in general. I'm going to lean into exactly who I want to work with. And that was a little scary. I mean, I kind of get nervous thinking about it. But if you read some of the copy on my Get Social Smart page, it's talking to a specific person in real estate. It's talking to somebody who is there the day of closing, that is handing the set of keys, that is bringing the bottle of wine, that like really cares about that client, that person. It's not just the person who wants to get another 20 leads off Zillow, right? Like, nothing against that person. It's just not for me, right? And so that's, I think, the thing that's really been on my heart is just like, don't be afraid to just really lean into who you want to talk to, who you really connect with, and who you are yourself and your business. And I mean, I've just been blown away in the last couple of days, like the response I've gotten to not being afraid and just going all in with who I am and who I want to work with. So that's exciting and scary, but exciting.
I love that. I love that. You know, I'll be sure to drop a link to the free chapter in my book that's online is actually the niche chapter, which is exactly what you're talking about. Like, let's just dig in and define who your ideal is. It doesn't mean you won't serve other people. It doesn't mean if I say I focus on serving women, it doesn't mean men aren't allowed in. Right. This isn't a golf course in 1940. You know, this is today. This is, you know, we are inclusive, but it doesn't mean that our message can't be focused. So I absolutely love that. So I know that D11, and of course that means me, huge partners for you in the launch of the Academy. And we're so obviously so excited. The team was like, yay, like we have something fun to talk about that isn't us, right? It's so much fun to talk about other people. Of course. So, and I know that you put together individual, you know, codes and things for the Fire Up community that we're going to share in here. Where can they find more information about the Academy, and how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest way is if they go to getsocialsmart.com. That will go through in detail exactly what the Academy is all about, who it's for, who it's not for, and exactly what's included in it. And really, in a nutshell, it's an on-demand library. It's a platform where if somebody wants to, they only have 5 minutes and they want to figure out Facebook ads, they can go to the Academy. If they want to sit down and binge watch my videos for 6 hours, they could do that too. And what I've realized is that people want to know what they want to know when they want to know it, right? We're in this sort of on-demand world. And that's really what the Academy is. So we've got over 40 videos right now and over 40 downloadable materials, plus my original 6-week signature coaching program is in there. And just a ton of content that we're going to be updating each and every month. And it really allows me to do what I think I do best, which is educate and help people, especially in the real estate and mortgage world, get smarter about social media. Because at the end of the day, we only have 24 hours in the day. And, you know, if I can help somebody just be smarter about the time that they spend, so they have more time with their kids, so they have more time with their pets or their hobbies or their passions or whatever it is, then I think that's a big win. So
I love that.
I love it. And we do have a special code. So if you go to getsocialsmart.com, there's a couple codes for the D11 community. So if you use the promo code D11 monthly, so D11 monthly, you'll save $50 off your monthly membership. Or if you use D11 yearly, if you want to sign up for the annual pass, so D11 yearly, you'll save $500 off the annual pass. So, which is a better deal, but totally up to you. No pressure.
I mean, seriously, that's like saving $500. Like, come on, people.
Right.
Like, you look it out. That's like, maybe a month's worth of a part-time assistant.
Yeah.
Spend the money there.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
I love that. I really, really appreciate that. And I love that you are just going after your dreams and your visions with so much passion and purpose and focus and hustle and drive. And I love seeing your family all come together, and that I love hearing, the vision that you and Paul have. It's so inspirational. And I know that it's inspiring people who are going to watch this whether it's live or in the replays, because it's just, you're so real and you're so open. And it's been an honor to spend the last hour with you, just sharing your story. So thank you so very much. Let's raise one more glass to, we still have a few more days in your first week. So
yes,
to that, like, let's do 6 figures the first week, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. It's just been so much fun being here. And I just have to say, for any of you, if you haven't gotten Deb's book, you have to get her book. She's seriously has helped me so much in my life, personally and professionally. And really, I think there's no better person than you, Deb, to just help people figure out their purpose and their why. So thank you. Just as a friend, you've been amazing to me. So thank you so much.
That's so sweet. The bartering and collaboration in our little tribe is so priceless. I totally agree. Oh, before I cry, I'm verklempt. All right. I wish you a wonderful Fire Up Friday. Woo! Tell Paul and the boys I said hello, and so much success to you. Mwah.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.